Hello, movie friends. Welcome back to our show. Anthony here.
And James here, and today we're going to talk about him, Nicolas Cage.
The one and only.
One of the GOATs. He just has latest movie out, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I went and checked it out, and it just showed how much people love Nick Cage and how great of an icon he is and a movie star, and we just love this guy. We grew up watching his movies. We still watch his movies, even though he's made a bunch of stinkers and duds. He's made some of the best movies for entertainment purposes of all time.
We grew up watching his movies in the 90s with our brothers, like Con Air, Face Off. Like, this guy was just on top of the world, and obviously with the National Treasure franchise. You saw Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm guessing it's kind of like a celebration of his career.
A bit. I wish it was actually a little more like that. They touch on it, and obviously it's like a lot of it paying homage to Nick Cage and his career.
Because there's the Castor Troy statue.
Yeah,
with
like the golden guns and stuff like that. It's really fun because it's very meta.
Do they have the wig from Con Air?
I don't want to spoil it for anybody,
right,
so I don't want to spoil stuff like that that's not in the trailers. But obviously the Castor Troy with the guns is in the trailer, so that's in there too. But just imagine there's an entire room full of Nick Cage paraphernalia and memorabilia, so it's a pretty great moment and scene. I wouldn't even put that movie in his like top 10, 15 in his filmography. It's pretty good, but it's like his highest rated movie he's ever been in.
Yeah,
it's like 96%.
Yeah, and then a lot of his great movies are horribly received critically. I think that his movies, you could say he could be an actor who's got so many great films that have bad reviews.
Yeah,
but then audiences love the movies.
Or like lukewarm critical reviews.
Yeah,
movies like Lord of War.
Great movie.
It's
great movie.
Pretty like average score.
It's one of his highest rated on IMDb. I think it's like his second one. I think The Rock is the highest rated one. But even The Rock, I think before Unbearable Weight was his best received critically. And he has just made some of our favorite movies. And I don't understand why critics have never enjoyed him like as an artist, and they've always been pretty critical of his acting. I don't know what it is. I've always found the guy to just be like an amazing actor, superstar, such a fun, entertaining, unique actor. There's really no one like him ever.
It's probably because of a lot of roles he takes. Like, he does great movies like Adaptation, Leaving Las Vegas, Bringing Out the Dead, really moody, artistic, and talent showcasing performances, but then he does movies like Con Air and Face Off and National Treasure. So I think a lot of critics are like, oh, this guy will do anything for money, it seems like. But to me, and from interviews I've read with him, he'll just, obviously he has the extravagant spending habits, but I think with him, he just loves to work and he loves making movies, and it's his job. And from interviews, he says that he doesn't even consider himself an actor. He's a movie star. That's what he does. And it's always just work to him. And he's in a better place when he's constantly working, whether they be good movies or bad movies. He just enjoys it.
Yeah, I love that approach to the acting. And his acting is something that is kind of misunderstood in terms of, I remember recently, before his like kind of resurgence to the last few years, a lot of people were saying that he's a bad actor and he was so overrated, and obviously ironically now everyone's celebrating him, but for a while he was kind of made fun of. I remember, I'm old enough to remember this happening a lot, and I've always loved him, but I think it's his acting style that people never really understood, where he approached acting from a different point of view as most actors, where he's not trying to go nuanced, he's not trying to go subtle, he's doing it on purpose. He's very loud and vibrant and ridiculous and extreme, and he has always done that on purpose. That's like been his thing. He calls it mega acting, and he was inspired by German Expressionism, the artists in that genre of film. The way they acted, he kind of brought that to America and modern contemporary movies, and it's always something he's done intentionally. I think people think that he's doing it like thinking that he's doing like a great actor, but
like overacting,
thinking he's doing good acting, but it's really, he's always done that on purpose.
Now, before we continue, the best way to support Raiders of the Lost podcast, besides using our coupon codes, is to become a patron at patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost podcast, where you get awesome perks like our podcast schedules, personalized videos, Patreon shoutouts on the show, and weekly bonus episodes that all patrons have access to. Plus, $10 and $25 tier patrons have access to our Discord, which we do watch parties and communicate with every single day play. It's a lot of fun. $25 Godfather tier patrons also get their own custom episode. You pick the topic, we review it for you to watch. It's really cool, and people love to do it. And we also launched our podcast masterclass online course last year. So for anyone who wants to start a podcast or improve their current podcast, our 22-chapter, 46-video lesson course will give you all the secrets behind the scenes of our show. The link is podcastmasterclass.teachable.com, or go to our website, raidersoftheLostPodcast.com. It's right there on the homepage. Thanks so much for tuning in around the world. Hit the subscribe, notification bells, leave some reviews. We really appreciate it so much. Now let's get back into Nicolas Cage, and to keep going what you're going on with people not really taking his style so seriously. And even I think The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari is his favorite movie. It's referenced in the new movie a lot. I think also the memification of Nicolas Cage over the last 15 years has also presented newer audiences to him, or old audiences, saying he's like kind of like not a joke, but like his performances have just been like like dumbed down to memes, because he's some of the best memes of all time, like the crazy eyes Nick Cage
Vampire's
memes.
Kiss, yeah.
And like people just think like of Nick Cage as like this crazy, eccentric, weird actor, when he's just seems like a cool guy.
He does seem like a really cool guy.
And he's a talented actor.
He's a very interesting guy. I mean, you look at movies like Adaptation, where he plays identical twins, and he does it so well. And the nuances to the performances and the characterization of both those men, it's really impressive. And then he's an Oscar-winning actor for Leaving Las Vegas. It's an amazing film. I don't think anyone's ever portrayed being drunk as well as he has. It's an unbelievable role. And I think that to be able to pull off the crazy action movies, the big budgets, it takes talent to be able to do that. And people have always responded to him, and there's a reason for that. It's not like he doesn't know what he's doing. And I agree. I think he's very just misunderstood, but he's a very interesting guy. I think in terms of actors, he's definitely one of the most eclectic, unpredictable, eccentric. But you want that. It's like a creative genius kind of personality.
Yeah, he's a movie star.
Yeah.
He doesn't call himself really an actor. He's a freaking movie star. That's what he is. That's what he does. That's why people love him so much. And he takes that on. Like you said, like not everyone can do these action blockbusters or these big movies. And, it's a particular persona that can do that. A person that can command a set, can command a movie camera and an entire scene, and just be the face and be the entire weight of the production, hundreds of millions of dollars on this one person really being the leader of it and being in charge of it. And he can really take on that responsibility. He's done it over and over again, whether his movies are well received critically or not. Everyone loves him. There's something about Nick Cage. It's like this like secret sauce. He's got it. Whatever it is, Nick Cage has had it for his entire career.
And it's because he brings something to the table that no other actor can. And I personally remember being a kid, growing up in the 90s, and just thinking Nick Cage was one of the coolest guys ever.
The absolute man.
I mean, and even movies like The Family Man I loved as a kid, and then Gone in 60 Seconds. And
Weatherman.
These are just excellent movies. I remember watching Lord of War a lot. We saw that with our dad. But our brothers were big fans of like Face Off, Con Air, those movies. So they were always playing on VHS at home. So we had a lot of exposure to Nick Cage in particular in our household.
His movies played on network TV all the time too back in the day. Nick Cage movies were on consistently.
Con Air was always on. Face Off was always on.
All year he had all those movies on.
Face Off might be in my top like most watched movies list, just because like I was a kid watching it so many times.
It was always on.
We watched it.
It was always on TV.
Like I could quote that movie maybe.
Like on
we should
CBS or TNT or something.
You know what we should do? We should do a double review of Face Off and Broken Arrow,
or double feature,
double feature.
Double feature.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, that'd be good. They go well together. Pretty well.
Yeah.
Or you could do Con Air and Face Off, stay with Nick Cage.
Mm-hmm. Or Travolta. I just love Broken Arrow too.
I know, that's true. The 90s, man.
And Nick Cage is also an extremely successful actor, one of the most successful of all time. He's earned well over $200 million with his roles. It's estimated between $200 to $250 million he's made in total. And,
just from salary.
Yeah, just from salaries. That's not including back end. And in a specific run from 1996 to 2011, so a period of only 15 years, he made $150 million. So averaging $10 million a year for 15 years is pretty solid.
That's like Jordan Belfort, and that only made $51 million that year, which really pissed me off because it was $1 million less than $1 million a week.
I love that quote.
No.
Driving the Ferrari. Yeah. And also, to contrast that, he's famously an extravagant spender. Now, I made a list of the most ridiculous, extravagant purchases that Nick Cage has made, and this is everything I could find online. I'm sure there's plenty of things that he's purchased that we're unaware of, but here's what I could find. So he purchased 2 islands in the Bahamas, 2 private islands.
Just so casual.
Yeah, super cash. He purchased the first ever Superman comic. It's called Action Comics #1. It's worth $2.6 million.
That's crazy. He's a huge comic fan.
Yeah. He purchased 2 castles in Europe. He purchased 4 yachts because one's not enough. At one point, and at the same time, he owned 15 different residences all over the world. He purchased a dinosaur skull, which is infamous. It's become that story where he outbid Leonardo DiCaprio at that auction. What actually happened was that dinosaur skull was stolen. And so Nick Cage, even though he purchased it, he had to give it back to a museum.
Yeah, to whatever country it came from.
Wherever
And
it
he
came
didn't even
from.
get reimbursed or anything for it.
Yeah, so he just lost out on I think it was like $500,000 he purchased it for. At one point in his life, Nick Cage owned 50 cars and 30 motorcycles all at the same time. He also purchased the famed Ferrari Enzo, which only 349 were made of that model. Each one of those is worth $1 million. He purchased an octopus. He purchased a crocodile. And he purchased a shark.
Also a 2-headed snake.
Yeah, a 2-headed snake that he actually had to give back, and he said the snake kept fighting itself.
He had to put a spatula between their heads so they wouldn't stop fighting over food.
And he also purchased albino poisonous snake, like a mamba or something, but an albino black mamba.
I would love to see this guy's flying miles, too, and how many flights he's been on.
He
Because if you have 15 houses at one point in time all over the world, you're probably flying like a couple times a week in between all these spots, or if he's filming, he's flying out to this spot for the weekend, or filming back here and then going to this place for the weekend. That's insane.
Yeah, one of the houses actually is in Louisiana, in New Orleans, and it's the most haunted house in America.
Wow.
And he purchased that because he's a fan of like the Gothic and all that stuff, macabre and stuff. So I believe that. So people often think like he lost all his money, and they're like he blew it all away. That's not true. Like, yes, he bought all his stuff, and he did end up selling most of the things he purchased, selling back many of the houses, a lot of the big things, and even he sold like cars. So it's not like he burned all his money. He got probably a lot of it back from selling things. He even sold his Superman comic, which he got like over almost $3 million for. But he probably wound up much less than what he had, but he still is worth tens of millions of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like everything he purchased burned.
Plus, he's making money every week off all
royalties.
all royalties and residuals of every project he's ever done.
When I was doing research, there was so many things online saying he was broke and
the movie The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, they play with that idea and the concept of Nick Cage has run out of money. He spent he spent his last buck, and
I love the idea.
He's gonna take this last gig to go to this birthday party for a super fan for $1 million. That's all he has to do, and it's a great concept for the movie. I had a lot of fun watching it. It was really funny. I'm gonna review it pretty soon, unless I already did. So check that out. It was a good time. If you love Nick Cage, you'll love everyone in the audience was there just to see Nicolas Cage, because not many people can pull that kind of like audience just to go see this guy, even though it's a movie where he's playing himself in a very meta plot. People go see it just because it's Nick Cage.
Exactly. He has like that Tom Cruise pull. Obviously not the same size. But people will go see a movie because he's in it.
And, if you see Nick Cage in person, you're going to probably lose your goddamn mind.
Oh, my God, yeah. Like, he's an actor who, if I saw him in person, I'd be like, whoa, that's Nick Cage.
But I think the good thing about this movie, even though it's not making a huge number at the box office, I still think a lot of people tune in. It's kind of getting rid of that memification stage of Nick Cage, and now everyone can kind of accept him for who he is, and now they're like, you know what, actually Nick Cage is awesome, and we really adore him so much, and it's less of a joke to make fun of him, and now to just enjoy his work.
I think after we film this, I'm going to watch Face Off.
I want to watch. We should watch. Yeah, we should put it on after this. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's
also just a very interesting guy. He's a self-professed Elvis fanatic. He's been obsessed with Elvis all his life, and he ended up marrying Elvis's daughter, Lisa Marie Presley, for several years. Isn't that crazy to be a super fan of a musician and then to end up marrying their child?
I wonder, maybe he planned that.
He must have put so much energy into doing that. You know what I mean? But he's had a bunch of like personal like urban legends of things that these crazy stories that I've read about, but I think he's just a fascinating, interesting guy. He's very unique.
And so Nick Cage, as we all know, is a Coppola. He is the nephew of Francis Ford Coppola, which makes him the first cousin of Sofia Coppola, the Oscar-winning filmmaker and screenwriter, which is really cool. And he was originally going by Nick Coppola when he began acting, and then I think it was when he was working on Fast Times at Ridgemont High, he decided to change his name to a new persona so that he wouldn't have the stigma of being a Coppola on his name and his title. And so he went with Cage, and he got the name Cage from being a huge fan of Luke Cage from the comics, the Marvel comic, and also composer John Cage. So those are two huge influences in his life artistically, so he chose them as the last name.
And I always see comments of people saying nepotism, and you're like, oh, he was a Coppola, that's why he made it. It's like, yes, being a Coppola helped. I'm sure it got him through the door to get auditions. But just because you know someone who's famous doesn't mean you're going to get cast in a role. So I thought it was great that he changed his name, and it shows that he really earned everything just on his sheer talent. Because, like, he got an agent, no problem, or a manager, no problem, sure. But still, he has to get the audition, and he has to land the audition, and he has to get the part over and over again. So I'm sure, like, changing his name, I like that he did that.
I mean, what, in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, he's just like a fry cook.
Yeah,
for like
he's
one
a
scene,
cameo.
he's like right there.
Which Judge Reinhold, like, working with him.
Yeah, so it's not like he was cast as a lead role or anything. It's not like Coppola put him in all of his movies or anything. We already know the story with Sophia, how that was just out of necessity last minute when Winona Ryder dropped out, so that's why she was in Godfather Part 3. But it's not like Sophia went on to be like a great actress or anything. She's a great filmmaker. That was her calling in life. She wasn't wanted. So, like, exactly, it's not really nepotism if you have the talent. And yes, to get your foot in the door, it helps to know people for sure, especially in Hollywood, but you still gotta have the talent.
Yeah, like Jason Reitman said, he had a great quote when we saw Ghostbusters Afterlife in person, and he was there for a Q&A, the director, and he's Ivan Reitman's son, and he said this funny line. He's like, the best way to become a director is have a parent who's a famous director. That cracked me up.
He's like, yeah, it is what it is. He's like, I'm the luckiest person in the world. He understands that.
Yeah.
You want to get into some fun talking points and categories like we did with our Bruce Willis episode? Anthony got a whole list of things again to talk about.
So let's start off with I want to hear your top 10 Nick Cage movies in order from first to 10th.
This is a tough list to make.
It's tough. Bruce Willis was way easier.
Yeah, it was actually. But there's like 15 or 16 that I wanted to put in the top 10. Mm-hmm. And I'm not doing a movie like Into the Spider-Verse because he's hardly in that.
Yeah.
We're talking
it's not a Nick Cage movie.
Like a Nick Cage leading role or like heavy supporting role because he's got like 10 lines in that entire movie.
It needs to be a Nick Cage movie.
I think. Even though that's like one of the best movie he might have been a part of in terms of ratings and stuff like that and in animated films, but like we're going best. So number 1 for me, this is my favorite Nick Cage movie, Mandy. This movie blew my mind. Absolutely insane. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen Nick Cage do anything like it. And it was like what got me really back into Nick Cage. And it was like, oh my God, I forgot how much I love Nick Cage because he kind of just disappeared from a while after Ghost Rider and like National Treasure 2, just a bunch of bombs, and like no one really heard of it from him.
Sorcerer's Apprentice was a huge bomb.
Yeah, nothing big and nothing really artistic or important. Then Mandy comes around and just blew my hair back. That movie, I still think about it from time to time. I'll just be like doing something. I'll be like, remember that movie Mandy? And like I've seen it a few times, and it's just such a trip.
Never seen anything like it.
Next up, I have Raising Arizona. This is one of I think the Coen brothers' funniest movies. It's very fun, very camp in a way, and I like his character a lot, his character design, and I think he just kills it. It's one of the Coen's favorite. Well, Joel Coen directed it, but I think it's one of their most underrated movies for sure.
Well, he's just credited. Yeah, they both directed it.
True. Okay. Yeah.
And it's a really funny, really sweet movie. It's great, and he's got a great mustache.
Number 3, I have Lord of War. As we brought up earlier, it is a very underrated movie. Really solid script. Excellent acting. I mean, it's Nick Cage, Jared Leto. We got Ethan Hawke. It's awesome. What's not to like about that?
Ethan Hawke is
he's like the agent.
Oh, that's right.
Chasing him down. Yeah.
Yeah. The gun. What's the outfit called? The
DEA,
something like that,
or something like that.
Firearms, tobacco, and you know what I mean.
FT
something. So someone, whoever knows, commented in the comment or DM us because it's gonna drive me nuts.
It's not your crime scene anymore. Anyways, number 4, I have Con Air, classic 90s action. Nick Cage with the hair, the wife beater on the prison jet, the plane. He's escaping, and it's just an iconic action movie. It's great. It's so silly, but to a point where it's like. Got this crazy cast too. I mean, Steve Buscemi, John Malkovich, Nick Cage, all in the same movie. It's wild. And also John Cusack. There's a couple Oscar winners in there. That's crazy.
Great cast.
Next up, number 5, National Treasure. It is just a fun movie. It is a blast. It never gets old. And even though, it's not a perfect movie, it can get a little corny. The music can get a little cheesy. I still love this one from the bottom of my heart. I'll always put this on and have a good time.
Oh, yeah.
Number 6, I have Face Off. Another classic action 90s movie. Face Off and Con Air came out in the same year, 1997, which is wild. That propelled him to mega superstardom for sure, especially in America. Face Off is a classic. Number 7, Kick-Ass. I think it's a very underrated comic book movie, and I love his character, Big Daddy, in this. It's super funny, super grounded and down to earth, and it's just, I think, a great comic book movie. Number 8, Leaving Las Vegas. This is what he won his Oscar for. Absolutely incredible performance as this alcoholic writer who is going to Vegas to basically drink himself to death. Really incredible stuff. Number 9, Adaptation. Anthony brought up a little earlier. He plays 2 characters identical, and it's really interesting. It's kind of a mind F and also endearing and really interesting performance. He's like all over the place. He's like an emotional wreck. It's really fun to watch. He's great at that kind of performance. And then number 10 was so tough. So tough to pick a number 10. But I'm going with Gone in 60 Seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it's not the best movie he's ever made, it is just so fun, and it's just a classic. And with the cars and Angelina Jolie, the cast is awesome. It's just such a great concept, and I love it so much.
Great list.
But my honorable mentions, like Bringing Out the Dead, is a Scorsese movie. I mean, The Rock, Matchstick Men is a really good one.
Ridley Scott,
Pig was awesome. Moonstruck is really good, and obviously Into the Spider-Verse. So it was tough to make that list, honestly.
All right, my list is
And
actually...
it's crazy. I left out The Rock, which is a beloved movie.
How could you?
I watched it a year ago, and I was like, it's pretty good, but it doesn't hold up the way I thought it would.
Mm-hmm. All right, here's my list. It's pretty different from yours, actually. It's quite different.
I like that.
I have, at number 1, Face Off.
Nice.
It's a childhood classic for me. It's a movie that I really loved watching growing up, and if you just shut your brain off and don't take it seriously, it's a wild ride. It's so much fun. Travolta and him are excellent, and just to see them swap the roles and the performances because they both play 2 characters, it's just so crazy and all over the place. Face off. I want to face off. Next up, I have Lord of War. I put it at number 2. I think it's a very underrated movie. It's directed by Andrew Niccol, who's made a lot of great films like Gattaca. And you got Jared Leto in a great supporting role. It's a really great, kind of feels like Goodfellas in terms of the style of the screenplay, the narration.
Fast pace, yeah.
Epic scope in terms of the period, and then the rise to power, rise to wealth. Really intriguing world. And it has an excellent opening credits with the bullet. I think it's one of the best opening title credit sequences of all time.
Yeah, overall, it's a really well executed movie.
100%. The script is just not fully there, but it's almost a great movie. But I really love it. Next, I have Gone in 60 Seconds. That's number 3.
That's high.
Number 3. It's Eleanor, man. It's just a lot of fun. The cast is great. And Angie, when I was in love with Angelina Jolie in this movie. I was like, oh my God. Gone in 60 Seconds and then Tomb Raider. And then Nick is just so cool. Will Patton, Giovanni Ribisi, a lot of Timothy Olyphant in an early role.
Oh yeah, he's a detective.
Yeah, just a great cast. And
with Elrond, I mean, I almost said Elrond. Delroy
Leonard. Yeah,
Delroy Lindo.
Yeah.
I said Elrond from...
We just did Lord of the Rings yesterday. Awesome cast, and I love boosting cars. It's better than Fast and Furious, I think. It's great. And
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Bold.
I think so. Next up,
It doesn't have family.
It wasn't about family in the first 2.
Family.
The first 2 were not about
Gone in
family.
60 Seconds is about family. It's his brother gets kidnapped.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's more family.
Oh, it's what's his name? Plays his brother.
I already said it. Giovanni Ribisi.
Yeah.
And then we have at number 4, I have Con Air. Awesome cast: Buscemi, Nick Cage in the hair. Just this eclectic set of characters. John Malkovich, super macho, ridiculous, crazy concept. Your favorite actors in it, John Cusack. James has a thing of he doesn't like John Cusack. He does not like him at all.
I can't watch him in movies. I really can't. It's nothing personal. I don't know what it is. It's like his face.
Something about your face, I just want to punch it.
I'm not saying that. Don't put words in my mouth. I don't want to get canceled. But I don't know what it is with John Cusack. It's not for me.
He's not a fan.
For me.
It's not. But I love Con Air. It's a great ride. It's a lot of fun. And then I have Matchstick Men at number 5.
It's really good.
I love Ridley Scott. Sam Rockwell. It's a great pair. Sam Rockwell, no one really knew who he was back then, but they're awesome. They're dynamic together. I love anything that has to do with con man or con women. I love that genre. And Ridley Scott doesn't do comedy that much, but when he has done it, he can do it really well. This is a very funny black comedy. I think it's an excellent film.
His performance is awesome in it too because he plays a con artist, but he also has OCD.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like a really interesting character. He's all over the place.
I think you could say it's his best performance. You could throw it up there. I think it's just a really great all around awesome movie.
It's one of those performances like he must have gave so much energy every day in it.
Yeah, and no one really talks about that movie. They should.
Kind of got forgotten.
Yeah. Next up, I have Kick-Ass at number 6. I also think it's an excellent superhero comic book movie. I think it's better than most Marvel movies. It's really funny.
Whoa!
I think it's better than most Marvel movies.
Whoa! That's my Marvel alarm. Hot Take City.
We're gonna have to cut that out.
Hot take from Anthony. Don't come after him, everybody, not me.
I would put it in my top 10 of comic book movies. Maybe
it's actually pretty excellent.
It's really funny, and I love the hard R it has, the gore, the humor. And then, like, Scene Stealer, Chloe Grace Moretz,
Hit Girl,
as like a 7-year-old, like, unbelievable.
I still think her first scene where she's killing all the dudes with like the kid music playing in the background, she's like smiling. She's like smiling at him, stabbing people. And she's like, she's like looking. She's like making direct eye contact, smiling at him the whole time. It's so funny.
The butterfly knife.
Yeah.
And then when he's teaching her how to fire a gun, and it's just great. He's like, he shoots her in the chest. It's because she has to experience it. I think it's just a lot of fun. Aaron Taylor Johnson's awesome too. And then at number 7,
real quick, he's about to play his third superhero.
Yeah, Kraven.
Kick-Ass, and then Quicksilver, now Kraven. That's crazy.
Yeah, he likes that money, man. He's got kids. He needs to feed his kids.
Marketable guy.
He's got like 4 kids. Next up, I have at number 7, National Treasure. Iconic. Yeah, I think it's his best. It's most fun big blockbuster. It's cheesy at times. It's not the best screenplay, and it's like. It's a little, you roll your eyes every once in a while, but if you just like turn your brain off, it's a lot of fun.
Literally every time I watch that, I'm like, I could probably steal a Declaration of Independence too. Seems pretty easy.
Seem that bad. Yeah, doesn't seem that bad. Doesn't seem that bad.
But if it's not in your top 10, then you're crazy.
It's got everything you want. It's got thrills, a good villain, great lead, great supporting cast, romance, good humor. You're traveling the country, awesome locations. It's just everything. It hits all the beats. Hits
Historic.
Everything. Yeah, historic. I love history.
Lemon juice.
Yeah, lemon juice. John Voight. And it will lead to another clue. They find like the craziest thing that on the declaration. He's still not satisfied. Like, you're definitely not making any progress, son. Okay, bud. Next up, I have Leaving Las Vegas. His Oscar-winning role. Excellent performance. Very dark movie. The movie as a whole isn't like it didn't live up to what it could have been. If it was better done and better screenplay, it could have been the best movie he's ever made. But his performance really sealed the deal for making the movie work, and it's all because of him. And then at number 9, I have Mandy. I really love the film. It blew me away. I've seen it twice now, and it has great imagery. It's made for such a low budget, but it feels so much bigger. I love the style, the tone, the music, the visuals. Just a wild, ridiculous, insane movie. I love Andrea Riseborough. She's an excellent actress. And then also the Bruce Wayne's dad from Batman Begins is the villain. I don't know that guy's name, but I remember we were watching it and I was like, is that Thomas Wayne? We were like, no, it's Thomas Wayne.
We freaked out.
It's wild. It's crazy how much the guy looks like Christian Bale. Like,
don't be afraid,
Bruce. And then at number 10, I have Adaptation. Excellent, amazing, brilliant Charlie Kaufman script. You gotta throw it on there. And then the performances by Nick Cage are phenomenal. And then you get Meryl Streep as a co-star in the film. It's just excellent. I love the movie. Chris Cooper's also in it.
Spike Jonze directed it.
Spike Jonze made this. It's a crazy movie. It was actually Charlie Kaufman was hired to adapt the novel that takes place in the book because Meryl Streep plays the author of the novel. And so instead of making a straight adaptation of that novel, he wrote this crazy story, put the author in his story. It's just wild how he pulled it out, and it's just an amazing movie. Those are my top 10.
Solid list.
Yeah, it was hard to order it, but I feel happy about that top 10.
I can already hear the unsubscribed comments. People are like, wow, you don't have Ghost Rider in the top 10.
Ghost Rider.
Unsubscribed.
No offense, the Ghost Riders are not good. Not good.
Knowing is not in your top 10. Unsubscribe.
He's in 2 movies where you can see the future. Next and Knowing.
Knowing is... Wait, which one? Knowing's the one with Jessica Biel?
No, that's Next. Knowing's the one with Rose Byrne.
What?
Yeah, Next is Jessica Biel, and then Knowing is like End of the World, Rose Byrne. It's the same friggin' thing.
Knowing.
He did 2 movies within 5 years where he could see the future.
Hold on, let me double check. So yeah, Knowing. Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the. Yeah, you're right. So Knowing is the other one.
Jessica Biel's Next. That one came out first.
Both not great.
But like both a character sees the future. Like what the hell?
Do something else, Nick. Just kidding.
Okay, next up, it's time to rank your top 3 Nick Cage characters.
All right, top 3 characters. Here we go. Number 1, I got Castor Troy from Face Off. Just so fun.
Yeah,
the
so
guns,
fun.
the outfits, the eccentric attitude. Like very few people can pull off this character so well like Nick Cage does. And it seems like he just tapped into like maybe like something that's just part of him to pull it off. But Castor Troy is so memorable, so fun. Even though it's one movie, man, I love it. And then I have Ben Gates. A much more controlled performance, and obviously, like maybe his most normal character he plays, except for being like a massive history buff and super smart. But Ben Gates is super fun, entertaining, charming. He's like like Nick Cage's version of James Bond, except that he shops at Sears clothing rack or Macy's.
Urban Outfitters.
No, it's like
Oh, him personally.
no,
Yeah.
like character Ben Gates.
Yeah.
And then Big Daddy from Kick-Ass.
Nice.
Even though he's a supporting character in one movie, he's that memorable. He's so funny. He's hysterical. Got a bunch of great lines, and I just love the performance. How he just flips on a switch from being like a hardcore superhero vigilante to being like the sweetest dad in the world, and also wears like collared shirts and glasses. Like, okay, honey, we'll go get some ice cream. Then shoot her in the chest. It's crazy.
I love that. All right, so my top 3 are Castor Troy, number 1.
We're definitely watching this tonight.
It's just he's just ridiculous and he's so psychotic but entertaining. It kind of reminds you of Pat Bateman. Just
Kinda,
like
yeah.
this crazy loose cannon. He's just not as controlled as Pat. He doesn't hide it.
Because I would say the most famous Nick Cage meme, if it's not the vampire kiss one, it's the one
priest
with the
outfit.
priest as
Yeah.
Castor Troy at the beginning of the movie,
Yeah.
like with his crazy eyes, like
Yeah, it's excellent. It's crazy. And then John Travolta did a good job starting out as Castor Troy.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah,
ending up
ending up
doing Castor
ending up
Troy.
as Castor
Doing
Troy.
Castor
Yeah,
Troy.
yeah, doing it. Next up, I have Benjamin Gates. Also,
Oh my god.
for all the same reasons you said. This is a fun character, and I love like very intelligent characters who like teach you things. So when you watch that movie, you're like learning stuff, and I just find it fascinating. And then I have Memphis from Gone in 60 Seconds. He's just so cool, just a badass, and also willing to risk his life and go to prison for the rest of his life to save his brother. So he has great morals, and just like being able to boost cars so easily and just like being able to drive so well. Just awesome qualities.
He's an awesome character. I almost
Yeah.
picked Memphis, but yeah, you're
Great
right.
name too.
Yeah.
Great nickname.
It's a pretty cool character.
Yeah.
All right, how about we head on into our intermission and then we'll come back.
Let's do it.
Raiders of the Lost podcast is brought to you by our good friends at manscaped.com. The leaders in men's grooming. Use our coupon code Raiders of the Lost at checkout for manscaped.com. You'll get 20% off and also free shipping worldwide. Oh my goodness. I highly recommend getting their ultra premium collection. It is the ultimate wet goods bundle. Comes with deodorant, body wash, 2-in-1 shampoo, conditioner, hydrating body spray, and a free set of Manscaped lip balm. And the best part of Manscaped's products is they are vegan, dye-free, gluten-free, paraben-free, alcohol-free, cruelty-free, and phthalate-free. So you're not going to feel any burns or nothing. This is all natural, good stuff.
Yeah, I had a situation where I ran out of my deodorant the other day, and then I went back to my deodorant that I still had from before I got Manscaped, and I've been using this deodorant, name brand deodorant, for years. Like, never had a problem with it. And then, so when I started using it again, it burned my armpits for 2 days. I was like, oh, what's wrong? I literally had to like wipe out my armpits because it was just this burning sensation wouldn't go away. And then I was just like using the tip of my Manscaped, like the bottom of it, like that was
right.
left. It's
All
because, and then I
natural.
looked into it because there's none of this like
No
bad
aluminum,
stuff in it.
no nothing in it.
And I looked it up. Your body ends up getting tolerant to that bad stuff, so you don't feel the burn anymore once you get used to using it. And I was like, I'm never not using Manscaped again for deodorant.
If you don't want to feel the burn, use our coupon code Raiders of the Lost at checkout to get 20% off and free shipping. And also get the Lawnmower 4.0 groomer. And Anthony will never go back because he also would feel the burn if he didn't have his lawnmower groomer.
Indeed. Our other amazing sponsor is movieposters.com. You know them. You know our friends. Head on over to their website, movieposters.com, and use our very special promo code Raiders10 to get 10% off your order today. They have all sorts of sizes, framing, backlighting, and they have a selection of pretty much every movie and TV show imaginable, from your favorite comic book movie to a classic from the 40s to your favorite TV show. They got you covered for all of your poster needs, and they also do great movie poster giveaways with our show as well. We just did one last week, and our friend James Jefferson won a poster for one of his favorite classic movies, and so we love movieposters.com. We know you all do too. And keep using our promo code at movieposters.com and get that great discount of 10% off your order.
All right, let's begin our intermission and start with our movie quotes competition. You ready?
Ready.
Right at this moment, the biggest R that I feel is regret. Regret that maybe the greatest warrior I have ever known met her end at the hands of a bushwhacking scrub, alky piece of shit like you. That woman deserved better.
Kill Bill Volume 2.
There you go, sir.
Great one.
This is an easy one. It's a great line.
I have an easy one too, but it's from a fan. Let's see if they stump you, though. This is from Brooke. If it's between you and some poor bastard whose wife you just turned into a widow, brother, you are going down.
She had a big ass.
When I think of a woman's ass, something happens.
That's Pacino in Heat.
He just turned 82.
Wow, happy birthday to the GOAT,
Yeah.
the star of Jack and Jill.
Yeah.
All right, guess this movie release year. The Abyss.
James Cameron's movie, 1997.
1989.
89? What?
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 What? Dude, he made Titanic in 97.
Oh, you're right. Wow. I can't believe he pulled that movie off in 89.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Titanic was 1997.
1997 was Titanic. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Wow.
for what they did in terms of, like, they made, like,
he
that
won the Oscar for visual effects.
They had that
won.
giant pool that they made, the submergent tank. It's crazy.
Wow, I can't believe that's surprising. It's that old. It surprises me. Ed Harris apparently hated working on it. He hated it.
I mean, he's probably a very demanding director.
Yeah.
Ed probably just wants to chill.
All right, guess this movie release year. RoboCop.
1986.
87.
Classic.
Classic. Good guess, though. Good
Movie
guess.
pop quiz time. Thanks, man. In the action thriller, Speed, why was Annie...
The action
I
thriller.
don't know why I just jacked up. I just love Speed. All right. In the action thriller, Speed, why was Annie, Sandra Bullock's character, her driver license suspended?
Oh, man.
In the movie, suspended for what?
Speeding.
Yeah! Nice, man.
The irony. It's a great movie. All right, here's my quiz question. Who played RoboCop?
Dude, I have no idea.
That was a tough one.
Honestly, no goddamn idea.
Peter Weller. Sorry. That was
No, I mean, it's a good trivia question
Yes.
for sure. Honestly, it's a good one.
my bad. And then we have some haters this week.
Yeah, we gotta...
So we have a real hater. We posted another TikTok video for Outer Range for Amazon Prime, and they just paid us to do reviews of the show. And so in this new review, this guy Hewless Sexy 69, all right, man, he wrote, "Bros straight up lying for money." And all we did was review the episodes and talk about what we think is going to happen next.
Gotta pay the rent.
Tell me you'd say no to that, man.
Gotta pay the rent.
And then we have some unsubscribes that are a lot of fun. So Mike was taking 1, 2, 3 in that same clip. He wrote, "What? No haters on this one? Unsubscribed." And then he said, and then a user, a bunch of numbers, wrote, "Guys, I think you tagged the wrong Josh Brolin. Unsubscribed," because they handled Josh Brolin. It's just set up for Prime to track, and it's not like Josh Brolin has a TikTok. They just use that handle to see how the analytics are performing. So they gave me that to tag, and it's not really a real account. And then we have another unsubscribe. Okay, this is my favorite comment of the week. So we posted a photo of Margot Robbie, her first photo as Barbie. And then Who to Hear, a good friend of our show, He wrote, "Never have I wanted to be Ken so bad right now." That's my favorite of the week.
All right, we got a couple of reviews that I'll bring up. We have a 1-star review and a 5-star review. So this is a new 1-star review from Joe. No research done in bad reviews. I've tried to listen so many times. The concept of what they do is incredible, but they are truly a product of poor execution. Truly, no research is done before the throwback reviews example clearly shown in the Godfather podcast. I thought that was a pretty damn great
We did a lot
episode.
of extensive research.
That was a lot of research. And reviews on current movie truly shown from their Venom Let There Be Carnage, where they told people to go see it after they saw it in IMAX headquarters. I had a good time seeing the movie at IMAX headquarters, so we made a video about it. So sorry.
So
Tom.
you're mad that we liked a movie that you didn't like?
Sorry, bro. I hope one day they can pull it together because they could truly have something special here. Well, we did pull it together. We both are full-time on this podcast. We appreciate you tuning in. Sorry you didn't like it, but I mean, damn, bro.
I think he's mad that we maybe pronounced Mario Puzo's names wrong once. I remember a comment about that.
I don't think that's related at all.
We put so much research into Godfather.
Yeah, that was a lot of work, that episode. Hey, is what it is. If you guys want to help us get rid of that 1-star review, go leave a 5-star one. Then we have a 5-star review from CJ, Knees Over Unsubscribed. Really love this podcast until his Knees Over Toes guy was mentioned. As a former second sound engineer for animated shows turned personal trainer, I will not stand for them mentioning one of my inspirations. This is a film podcast, not a running podcast. Just kidding. The reason I love this podcast is the exact reason I stopped watching Cinema Sins and started watching Cinema Wins. Same.
Yep.
Too much negativity surrounding the discussion of film. Refer to past review. Last review. It's nice to sit down.
He wrote that in the review?
No, I'm just saying it.
Yeah.
It's nice to sit down and listen to people who just like movies. Keep it up. Also love the weekly chats.
Oh, thanks
so much, CJC.
Appreciate it.
You're the best.
We have a Godfather shout-out today.
Who's the Godfather shout-out?
Tim Fox.
Tim clearly likes what we're doing.
Tim likes us so much he became a Godfather patron.
Did we research the Godfather
I hope we did enough research for you. I hope you didn't hate Venom so much.
Bro, I had 7 pages of notes for the
I
Godfather.
know, right? And Tim requested RoboCop for his review.
No way. Full circle.
Yeah, it's pretty well. Well, I did RoboCop facts because I wrote that in the list, so they gave me the idea to do that. But RoboCop's an excellent hard R sci-fi movie. They rarely get made nowadays. There's a lot of great brutal gore in it, so I can't wait to review it for you, Tim.
Yeah, that one's crazy.
It's gonna be wild.
Like the factory scene.
Yeah. And now, like our Godfather episodes, we're posting 2 a week now because we've been getting so many Godfather patrons that we're like, we have a list of like 20 movies we have to review. So we're instead of 1 a week, we're doing 2 Godfather reviews every week.
If only we did better research, we could have more.
Yeah, I mean, too bad like we're not. We need some like help researching.
More research, poor execution.
Sorry, guys.
Anyways, on this day in film history, today's May 2nd in 1957, first Hammer color horror film released, The Curse of Frankenstein, starring Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. In 1997, Austin Powers, The International Man of Mystery, is released. In 2003, the Lizzie McGuire movie was released. Lit. And then X2 X-Men United is also released. 2008, the first film in the MCU is released, Iron Man. In 2014, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is released, and happy birthday to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
I wish you could have researched that better.
Tried, man.
It's kind of like disappointing research right there.
My streaming recommendation is a new film on Netflix. War of the Worlds just got added on May 1st.
Oh, no way. I love that movie.
They got a bunch of good movies coming out this month.
That's a great movie. That's so underrated.
I mean, when we talk about Spielberg, it's going to be so hard to do a Spielberg episode because he's made so many great movies. Like, when you think of his best movies, you think of 10 movies ahead of War of the Worlds. So War of the Worlds is great.
15 movies ahead of War of the Worlds.
It's crazy.
That sequence when the the tripod shows up and he runs from the town square. Oh my God.
Dusting all the humans.
I remember seeing that as a kid being like, oh my God, this is insane.
You can actually, that set is still there of like all the
we've seen
town destruction. It's at the Universal tour. Mm-hmm. I wish I did more research on like what else they have there. But anyways,
man, it's too bad. The guy was right, man. Disappointing.
Poor execution here.
You knew we were going to talk about War of the Worlds.
I know.
You knew that was definitely going to come up.
Damn.
My streaming recommendation on Netflix is a great Italian crime drama show. It's called The Trial. It came out in 2019, and it's about a trial of a murder case that has lots of twists and turns. I really wound up liking it. I just started watching it because I'm trying to learn Italian, so I'm watching Italian stuff, and I think TV shows can be a great way of like getting a ton of Italian in. So I just watched it just to watch it, but then like by episode 3, I was like, This is really good. This is great. And I think it's an awesome crime drama. You should check it out.
Of course, Anthony picked some random Italian TV show that no one's ever heard of. Classic Anthony.
Hey, I'm trying to recommend something I like that not many people have seen.
kidding.
That's the whole point of the recommendation.
I appreciate your recommendation.
See, this is what happens when you do research, Jim.
All right, let's get back into our episode on Nicolas Cage and check out more research we did on him. All right,
Next up.
that's our next section.
Yeah. What's your favorite moment in a Nick Cage movie that he's been a part of?
There's so many great
Yeah,
ones.
it's tough.
My first was gonna be when he says in National Treasure, "I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence." Like that's such a great moment.
Yeah,
it's like
it's a
the,
great pick.
the craziest line ever said in a movie.
Yeah.
I think it might be. It's up there. But then I decided to go with when he flies Eleanor over the trucks.
No,
on
you
the highway.
didn't. That's what I picked.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh man,
I picked Eleanor over the bridge.
sickest scene.
Oh my god, with the
Sickest
music.
scene.
Oh my god.
I always love how every time I watch it, I'm like, the ramp of the truck was up,
Yeah.
and then it cuts to it, and the ramp's down. Like, they need to fix that.
Yeah, they did it in Batman. In
Yeah.
the Batman, he did the same thing.
But the Batman, he had a turbo engine. But I mean, taking the Mustang, the '67 GT500,
It flies like 200 feet. It just keeps going.
it's so sick.
It's a great because the build up to like he can't control Eleanor and he's having trouble with it and he's like always talking to it and trying. He's like settle down. It's like he's riding a horse.
Kind of, yeah.
I love it. And then when he just like is just whipping around the city and the traffic jam on the bridge and he's like the cops are on his tail, and then he
The
just,
train in reverse.
yeah, and then he just like shoots it up and it's like, oh man, it's so awesome.
Some of the best driving sequences you'll see in a movie of all time, and even like comparable to Bullet in movies like that. With
Yeah.
Steve McQueen.
And Jack Reacher has some great
iconic.
ones.
Jack
Yeah.
Reacher has like one of the best movie driving shots with
Yeah.
that long shot where the camera comes from the side of the
Oh,
car
yeah.
to the front, and you see Tom driving. It's like, I should have done more research. Sorry, guys.
I wish you researched
Yeah,
that.
moving on.
Of course, we picked the same moment.
It's like we ordered the same cheeseburger. But actually, we went out to dinner with some people the other night, and I got a Cuban sandwich, and you got a cheeseburger.
I almost got I got a cheeseburger. I almost got the Cuban, but then like
You were like, oh, he ordered it. I couldn't get the same thing.
no, I don't care about that.
Yeah.
But I was like, I saw the people we were with got burgers, and I was like, burger sounds.
How's the
really good
burger?
right now. It was good. It was
The
very
Cuban was
good.
bomb because
It was
it was
pulled
pulled
pork.
instead
Yeah.
of just like sliced sections of pork. Because usually it's sliced pork and then ham and then Swiss cheese and mustard
Yeah.
and pickles. Oh, I'm salivating. It's one of my
Just
all-time favorite sandwiches.
Yeah.
But it wasn't pressed. It was just in like a French roll. It's still really good, but usually a Cuban sandwich is pressed.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I noticed that.
I haven't done much research on sandwiches, but all right, this
If only
last,
you did.
last research joke. Getting old.
Okay, next up, what is the best Nick Cage performance?
Next, the best Nick Cage performance. Where is it? Right here. Oh, I got Leaving Las Vegas. It's his
pick.
Oscar win, obviously, but again, one of the reasons that's the reason why I put it in my top 10 Nick Cage movies. His performance is incredible, and like Anthony said, like no one plays a drunk as good as him in this movie, or plays being drunk, and it's just it's a depressing performance in ways to watch. It just drains you emotionally. It's tough to watch at the same time someone doing this to themselves. But also there are a lot of heartwarming moments, especially the person, the prostitute, the sex worker he's falling in love with and has the relationship eventually. And it's really touching at times, but also an emotional journey. And he goes to a lot of different depth, a lot of low depths in this role.
Mm-hmm. I picked. Wait, what were we picking? Oh yeah, sorry.
Best performance.
It's the line.
This guy
Sorry.
drinking on the job.
I was like, wait, what
You're
are we
fired.
doing? Good thing I'm not operating machinery. I picked adaptation. It's a really unbelievable performance because he plays two roles, very different, distinct personalities. He plays twins. One's very confident, very capable, very successful, and then one is very unsure of himself, insecure, and not nihilistic, and just he kind of like he's a screenwriter, but he hates movies.
And he hates himself.
And he hates himself, and there's a great scene with Brian Cox too, but I think it's his best thing he's ever done. It's really unbelievable. He put on a lot of weight, and he has this crazy curly hair. He kind of based his performance on the real Charlie Kaufman and a lot of the mannerisms, and I've never seen, I think it's his most transformative role too.
He's got like a perm.
Yeah,
He's got, like,
exactly.
kinda like
The
a
hair
little-
is
like a-
very
like a
curly.
fro.
Yeah. So that's my best performance for him. All right, what's the best character look for Nick Cage?
I'm going with Raising Arizona. I love the outfits, the wardrobe. I love the mustache, and he's still got like a thick hairline going on.
The big hair, yeah.
But I think the mustache seals the deal. It's a great one, and it's a really good character look. It's like one of the most interesting in his filmography.
He's got like the tank top with the like Hawaiian
Hawaiian
shirt.
shirts, like
Yeah.
the orange one, the
Yeah.
blue one.
I picked Cameron Poe in Con Air
Classic.
because of the hair. The hair. It's.
I want to know wig or extensions.
It's got to be extensions.
Probably.
He grew it out and then just put extensions on.
Yeah.
I guarantee it. But it looks great.
I'm sure that's like what Hemsworth does with Thor.
Yeah, he's just got the wife beater on and the long hair tucked into the tank tucked into the jeans.
The wind blowing in his face, just looking
He's like
out.
smiling, like I'm free. You gotta go with that one. Okay. Next up, what is your Nick Cage desert island movie?
Face Off. Face
Excellent
Off.
pick.
We're gonna watch it tonight.
I also picked Face Off.
I have it like number 6, I think, on my top 10 list, but that's the desert island movie for sure.
Yeah, that's the most rewatchable.
So entertaining.
Okay, next up, define Nick Cage with 3 words.
I have eccentric, confident, and magic. Whatever it is. I don't know what it is. You can't describe it. Some people have it, some people don't. Some people have it, and it is indescribable, and you can't describe it.
You're getting so passionate.
But it's a movie star. It's the thing.
I'm feeling so many feelings right now.
You can have like the most attractive, talented person, put them on front of a camera. They might not have it, but Nick Cage does.
Great point. Great point. My 3 words are unpredictable, entertaining, and confident as well. I think the guy is just supremely confident to be able to do what he does. Like, he just like doesn't care what anyone thinks about him. He's just happy to do whatever he wants and doesn't think twice about it.
He's living his best life.
Exactly. All right, next up. If Nick Cage was not an actor, what job or career would you picture him in?
Self-help motivational speaker. I think it's perfect. He's got the energy for it. He's got the craziness for it. And I feel like it's like that kind of job. It's kind of like being a cult leader. I feel like he has the personality to be a sort of cult leader. And that's usually generally like what those kind of people are.
Yeah.
It's like snake
He'd be
oil
going on
salesman.
tour, like speaking tours.
Yeah. Just like crazy energy, like on the stage, like going crazy.
He'd
like,
have a bunch of books.
Yeah.
I like it. I picked him. He would run a small casino in Las Vegas, like those outskirts casinos on the edge of the city.
I like that.
He'd run one of those,
Like in old Vegas, old town.
Exactly. Okay, next up is my favorite part of the show. You have to pitch me a Nick Cage movie. It could be a Nick Cage movie that, like, you know, kinds of movies he was making in the 90s or in the 2000s, or even the kind of movies he's making nowadays. So any kind of era of Nick Cage.
Okay, cool. You ready?
Ready.
Nick Cage plays a man with split personality disorder. One identity, he's just a normal man. The other identity, he's a werewolf. However, he doesn't actually transform into a werewolf. He's just a human guy, rips off all of his clothes, pretends to be a werewolf, wreaks havoc on the city every night.
I like it. I like it. Very funny. What's his name?
The name of the movie?
Yeah.
Where's the Wolf?
What's his character's name?
Wolfman. I didn't come up with that. Oh, let me spitball one. Steve Fernstein. Steve Fernstein.
Fernstein.
Because he's furry.
He's also Jewish.
Yes, he's a Jewish werewolf.
Fernstein.
Jewish werewolf.
Furrystein.
Yeah.
I like it. I'll buy tickets to that movie. All right, my Nick Cage movie is Nicolas Cage plays a colorblind ninja named Kirk Somerset, who has retired from his days of battle, but he is thrust back into action when his wife is stolen by a gang of ruthless Moon Knight cosplayers.
Stolen? Not even kidnapped?
Stolen.
Jeez. Moon Knight cosplayers. All right. What's the name of the movie?
Kirk Somerset.
Nice, man.
Oh man, I love it.
All right, what's up? What's up next?
That's it for our fun stuff.
Well, we got a couple others. There was Craziest Moment.
Oh, craziest moment. Sorry, I skipped that.
I have Pissing Fire in Ghost Rider.
I have the Vampire's Kiss speech with the big bug eyes, where we were talking to his secretary, and his eyes are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and is ridiculous, over the top insanity. It's just so wild.
Yeah, now I think that's all of them.
Yeah,
Because
that's all.
superhero, who could he play? He's already played
Ghost
Rider,
so-
and he was
yeah,
almost
twice.
He was almost Superman.
He's played 2 comic book characters, so I don't think you have to pick one for that.
All right. Want to just run through some of his best movies?
Absolutely.
So let's see. We've talked extensively, obviously, about Face Off, but there's movies that I think like some underrated ones that I really like. Like Joe.
Joe's
is
a good
really
one.
really good movie.
Yeah.
Also,
Pig is a really, really good underrated
yeah, we saw
one.
Pig recently that came out last year.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent little indie movie. Really great character performance by him. Never seen him do anything like he plays this baker that like lives in the middle of nowhere. He's like a world renowned chef.
Yeah.
He lives in the middle
Farmer.
of nowhere, and he just hunts for truffles now, and his pig gets stolen. And it's kind of like not so much like a revenge story, but like he's just looking for his pig. And
Redemption story.
yeah, it's really interesting.
It's unpredictable. It's very unpredictable. Also, Wild at Heart's a very good one. Moonstruck is really great. That's an awesome movie. I also, like I said, I love Matchstick Men. The Family Man, I think, is a really underrated one with Tia
too.
Leone. I think it's a great holiday film for families. He plays a guy who super successful businessman, lives in the city, he's a womanizer, and then he wakes up one morning and he's with his high school sweetheart, and they're married with kids, and he's working for her dad as a used car salesman. And he's like, what the hell's going on? And then he spends several weeks living this life and ends up growing to love it, but then he gets sent back to his former life of being a bachelor businessman, and he's so upset, and he's trying to get that old life back and trying to connect with Tia Leone's character again. It's a really sweet, heartwarming family film. Also, he's just made some there's some movies he's made that are just flat out just like not good at all. Like The Wicker Man, it's a great movie, the original in the 70s, friggin' wild horror movie with Christopher Lee in it. And then he did an adaptation of it, not very good, kind of like disappointing. Like they shouldn't even have done it in the first place. And also, Ghost Rider movies, cool CGI, interesting character. I think
They need better scripts.
bad execution, very bad execution, just not good movies at all.
The design is cool.
Yeah, the design. It's an interesting comic book character. He's up there, and also they're rated R, so they can get pretty gory with it. But I just think they just never really pulled it off. And also, The Sorcerer's Apprentice, it was supposed to be a big Disney movie. It had a huge budget. It was supposed to be kind of like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings-esque, and he played the sorcerer, and Jay Baruchel played the apprentice. It's famous books, like those. It was during that young adult book saga phase of films for 15 years, Hunger Games, Divergent, and then Percy Jackson. So all the studios were trying to get every YA fiction book into a movie, and this is one of them. And it was just flat out, just kind of a disappointment, huge bomb, big failure for the studio. And then after that, Disney kind of cut ties with Nick Cage.
Moonstruck's also pretty underrated. He plays a one-armed baker in that, and then it's pretty early in his career back in 1987. And also, Bringing Out the Dead is a very underrated Nick Cage movie and an underrated Martin Scorsese movie. Came out in 1999. He plays a paramedic in New York City who's kind of losing his sanity because he's constantly in this tightrope or this balance act of saving lives and witnessing deaths, and it's just driving him insane. It's a really dark but energetic movie, which is kind of like a weird tone that I think Martin Scorsese is one of the few directors that could really pull off effectively. It's odd. It's like a movie about death, but it has so much life and energy in it. And
Lots of red, too.
Yeah, his character's really interesting. And Patricia Arquette is one of the main characters as well. Ving Rhames, Tom Sizemore, John Goodman. It's overall just a really, obviously, well-made movie by Martin Scorsese. Underrated, I think, in my opinion, and it's one of my favorite. I didn't put it in my top 10, but it was almost in my top 10 for sure.
Yeah,
for Nick
same.
Cage favorite movies.
Next up, City of Angels is pretty good. It's a pretty good romance movie with Meg Ryan. It's an adaptation of an international film about an angel who comes down to heaven and falls in love with a woman. And it's not as good as the original, but this one it's pretty good. It's pretty solid. I remember seeing it as a kid a few times. His mom liked it a lot, and it's a nice romance movie.
Red Rock West is also an underrated Nick Cage movie. Came out in 1993. Early role for him in his career a few years after Raising Arizona. He plays an ex-Marine who stumbles into Red Rock, Wyoming, and he gets mistaken for a hired killer and someone offers him $10,000 to kill his wife, the guy's wife. It's really interesting, and it's a really unique story, great script, but I think that just kind of flies under the radar. It's one of those great like 90s indie movies, and that indie American film boom that kind of just got forgotten under the radar, but I think at the time it was so popular. But I think I highly recommend checking it out. It's 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is super high.
Damn. He's also in another movie with your favorite actor.
Who, John?
Yeah, John Cusack. The Frozen Ground, where Cusack plays a serial killer. It's a pretty good serial killer cop movie. It's not great, but it's pretty solid. It's not terrible. They both do a good job. It's got an interesting score too. Cusack pulls off serial killer pretty well.
Let's see what else. Drive Angry. I remember that came out. That was
with Amber Heard.
That was a bit of a bomb.
Yeah.
The Croods. He does the voice. That's a funny joke.
Oh yeah, the animated movies.
Let's see. He's got a cameo in Grindhouse. So he plays Fu Manchu, the werewolf woman of the SS segment. And what else is like notable? Let's see. Snowden. He played Hank Forrester in that movie. The movie Edward Snowden, starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that. I didn't see that one.
Pretty good movie. Pretty good.
Pretty good.
But right now, he's working on. He was supposed to be in that Joe Exotic TV show, but I think
it's a different one that the trailer just came out, and it's just in development. I don't think it's going to end up happening.
He's in post-production on a few movies. He's in post-production on Renfield, where he plays Dracula.
Yeah.
And there was a set photo of him captured leaving the trailer to go to set. He's in this great, like, purple suit, tons of makeup, like, creepy fingers and stuff like that, and jewelry. I can't wait to see him
I'm looking forward to it.
play Dracula.
Yeah.
Like, he seems like an actor. Oh, like, Nick Cage is going to be Dracula. Sign me up any day.
And Nicholas Hoult is going to be playing Renfield. And I love Nicholas Hoult. And if he's involved, it's got to be a good script.
The guy who's directing it is the guy who did The Tomorrow War. So I think
Chris McKay.
Yeah, Chris McKay. So I'm sure it'll be a pretty good movie. Ben Schwartz is in it as well. So that's what he's working on right now.
Sounds fun. I would love to see that.
I mean, Nick Cage is just iconic.
Cage.
We love this guy so much.
We hope
such
you do
an
too.
interesting guy. I'm sure everyone does. I bet this is going to be a big episode.
It's going to be our biggest episode ever.
There's something about him. Like, there's just like, he's part of like stan culture. Like he's like an early member of like, he had his own Stan fans, you know what I mean? Like that's like the new thing, like I stan this. But people stan Nick Cage forever. They always will. We stan Nick Cage. We love this guy so much. And even though like all the memes have just kind of, I feel like, degraded all the great work he's done and the persona of Nick Cage, I think he's gonna have a comeback because of the new movie where he's playing himself, and people are like, oh yeah, you know what? Freaking Nick Cage is the man. We love that guy. And he's made a bunch of bad movies, but some of our favorite movies of all time.
You compare it to the Bruce Willis spotlight we did a few weeks ago, and Nick Cage's top 10 movies are better than Bruce Willis's top 10 movies.
Arguably, although Bruce Willis he's
in a couple of the greatest movies of all time. But I think it's like, if you count all 10 of Bruce Willis's, were they as good as all 10 of Nick Cage's?
It's tough when you take like Pulp Fiction and Die Hard and you go against what are Nick Cage's top 2 movies.
He has nothing to compare with those.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's got nothing on that
level.
He's
deep, though. He's got deep tracks.
Yeah. He's like a great, reliable outfielder who's going to, bat .315.
He'll make an error every once in a while.
Steal a bunch of bases. Yeah, he's a solid player.
I love Nick Cage.
Love him to death. But that wraps our episode on the great Nicolas Cage. Hopefully, he keeps making great movies in addition to his, the ones he's got to pay the bills with. He got castles. It's a lot of insurance, I'm sure the homeowner's insurance on a castle.
He's got 4 ex-wives.
It's crazy. It's a lot of cheddar cheese. But I count on him making great movies here and there, like Mandy's a great standout. The new one was a lot of fun. I highly recommend it if you love Nick Cage. It's really, really funny. Lots of great meta jokes and references to his career and stuff like that, and references to his old movies. We're going to go watch Face Off right now, so thanks so much for tuning into this episode. Be sure to become a patron at patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost Podcast. I promise we'll do better
research.
We'll do better research.
We'll try.
We can't keep getting those 1-star reviews, That Godfather episode. I mean, we put several hours of work into it, but
if only we knew something about movies.
If only we knew. Anyways, take care, everybody. We really appreciate all of you so much.
Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks so much for tuning in to Raiders of the Lost podcast. Be sure to subscribe if you're new. Hit the like button, leave a comment. Find us on all audio streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find us. Find us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Raiders of the Lost podcast. Be sure to check out one of these other videos right here for more content on our favorite films and breaking down all kinds of movie content. Thanks so much.